Okay, so welcome to Bitcoin African Story Podcast, where we explore personal journeys behind Bitcoin adoption across the continent. I'm your host, Destiny Smart, and today we are joined by Tumelo Hika, who will share our inspiring story of Bitcoin impact in our personal life and as well as community. So stay with us as we dive deeper into our projects and the ripple effects in our neighborhood, and also gain practical tips for anyone starting out with Bitcoin. So if you don't mind, Tumelo, can you please briefly introduce yourself to the audience so we can all get to know you more better?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Destiny. I am Tumelo, as Destiny said, and I am from a small neighborhood in Joburg, South Africa, right? So basically, I'm a nail technician and I'm also a beautician. I am also a Bitcoin educator in my community and also online with Bitcoin Africa Story, I'm part of a circular economy in our community called Bitcoin Sisonke and a growing project called Bitcoin Flagship, basically.
Okay, thank you so much, Tumelo, for that amazing introduction. Tumelo has been doing a lot, I would say a lot in the space, with the different projects you mentioned. Let us dive into today's episode. So to start everything with, I would like to ask our guests a little question. Said we would like to know more of where you're from. You mentioned you're from Joburg, so if we can know maybe the specific community you are building on, as well as what you do professionally and in your everyday life as work.
Okay, so besides doing like nails and things like that, there's quite a few things that we do in our community. So I don't know if you're asking me about my background in Bitcoins exclusively or as a whole. But yeah, basically I live in a location. And what that means is kind of like a township. It's not in the city or in the suburbs or anything, right? So you get to see a lot of people that are unemployed, like including me. I was unemployed. That's why I started, learning the skills to at least do something or open a business for myself or make some money for myself. Hence, I went into beauty and nails and things like that. So this is a place where you have to create opportunities for yourself because it's not every day where people get jobs. It's not easy. So there's a lot of businesses in the streets. For example, street vendors who are selling fruit. There are people who are doing people's hair, braiding people's hair. People are trying to make livelihoods for themselves. So that's when our Bitcoin starts being kind of essential for these people because we all know that the money system is not so reliable. And for example, these people can't access small loans, like big businesses to expand their businesses. So Bitcoin helps in more than one way. It can serve as a medium of exchange where it's easy, everybody has phones nowadays, so you can just pay with Bitcoin, right? Or you can use it as a savings to counteract inflation and things like that. Because like I said, they can't access loans to offset the inflation and the rising prices and all those things. That's where the circular economy now comes in.
Awesome. So coming from that perspective where people literally don't have access to the financial system, then building a solution for them that is through this Bitcoin circular economy, That's a very powerful thing to do. So shout out to you and your team. You guys are doing a great work, in the community. Coming to you personally, we would like to know when when did you first hear about Bitcoin? We would like to know about your first encounter with Bitcoin and what was your initial reaction or experience as of then.
I started hearing about Bitcoin, I think it was 2023, around September. And at first, it wasn't necessarily something that I understood at that point. I didn't understand what was going on. And I also thought that it was going to be hard to understand. I thought it was going to be difficult to grasp because of there's many aspects in the Bitcoin space. There's the technical side, there's the economical side, there's the financial side and things like that. So I thought it would be difficult to understand. That was my initial thought on it. But yeah, I believed that the technology was legit, but I just thought that it would take maybe years for me to grasp the entire concept, basically.
100%. Sometimes it sounds funny when you don't know anything about Bitcoin and someone tells you about Bitcoin and you're like, what is it? How can I start? So that was a very, very inspiring one. Really appreciate you sharing that. So moving down to the personal impact, we would like to know how Bitcoin has impacted your personal life and career, and also know if there are any specific changes or opportunities you've experienced while building in this Bitcoin space.
Okay. It has had a very, very positive impact in my life. Whereas, as a businesswoman, when I do nails, I used to store the profits that I used to make in a bank account, right? But then the bank account, it has its charges. It has a lot of charges. When you withdraw money, there are charges. When you deposit money, there are charges. When you receive money, there are charges. So honestly, on top of the inflation also, it was a little bit overwhelming. There was too little yield at the end of the month or at the end of the day. There were too many trade-offs. So the fact that I'm able to accept Bitcoin as payment and also store my money in Bitcoin, even if people pay me in fiat, it's a game changer because I started a while back. So, as the rand is falling, we use rand in my country, as the rand is falling, you can see that, okay, Bitcoin can stand against the depreciation of the rand. So I am able to sustain my business. I am able to sustain myself, my life, and I'm able to, for example, send something to my mother, for example, if ever she needs something, maybe during the month, when her funds are low, she can just ask me, hey, can I please have a voucher for petrol or something like that? I know that I can just make a voucher, with Bitcoin and just send her that voucher, and then she can pour in some petrol and things like that. So it honestly has a positive impact in my life. I can see it every day. It didn't just happen maybe like one impact and then I'm living through the impact every day. And also the opportunities, it has brought me many opportunities because I was able to go to Adopting Bitcoin Cape Town in 2025, I think. If I'm not wrong, I went, it's very far from where I live. It's 15 hours drive. So I was very happy to meet people and learn so much more. And it also presented me to job opportunities. There's many job opportunities as well, in my extra time. For example, if ever I'm not doing nails, there's so many things in the Bitcoin space. So yes, it's lots of opportunities because I don't want to talk too much about it, but yeah. Basically, there's a lot.
You don't have to like maybe withhold yourself if you want to say something. It's your time, regardless of if we plan for 21 minutes. If you want to extend, you can extend, no problem. We've got the lights on, so no problem. So anyways, feel free to express yourself as long as you feel it's okay. I'm not holding you back. This is Tumelo's episode. So thank you so much for that amazing and once again inspiring story, because based on what you said, I believe that most people also get it the same. Most times people are like kind of not really into something except if they kind of like hear the experience of people that have already been in that same situation. For example, when you introduce someone to Bitcoin, they might be very skeptical at first, but when they hear or when they watch or when they read or when they see someone who is into Bitcoin, from the same angle they were, they might be inspired to, take action. So that's the whole aim of this program. So I hope for those people that are listening, for those people that are watching, and you want to reach out to Tumelo, you can do that by going on Twitter and searching Tumelo_Hika, if I'm not mistaken. Tumelo, please correct me if I'm wrong.
You are correct. It's Tumelo Hika. There's no underscore in Twitter. Yes.
Well, I'm so sorry for that. So Tumelo Hika, you would surely see her on Twitter. Very, very awesome. So moving down to the next, we want to dive into the community impact, because with the works you're doing, it's all boils down to the community. You mentioned you are building a Bitcoin circular economy project, and we all know that this is building on Bitcoin physically, although people can also build on it digitally, but you're focusing on that on-ground version of the Bitcoin circular economy movement. So if you don't mind, we would like to know how Bitcoin is being adopted in your community, and also what changes or transformation have you observed in the community?
Okay, so as you know, a circular economy consists of people spending like Bitcoin amongst each other, right? Which means it stays in our community. So we have quite a few merchants already who accept Bitcoin as payment, right? And we host classes from time to time. We host My First Bitcoin classes, physical classes, right? So, and we also host meetups. There's quite a lot of people who, not a lot, there could always be more, but then there's quite a number of people who understand what Bitcoin is and who see the value in having Bitcoin. So it is being adopted in our community. As we say, there's about maybe 5 or 6 to 10 people who accept Bitcoin like merchants. So they also spend the Bitcoin amongst each other and also run errands with the Bitcoin. So the adoption is underway for sure. But we are striving for a bigger audience, obviously. We now, at least like around 20 businesses this year should be accepting Bitcoin. But then we want to keep it organic, where now we are not rushing the process now. Yeah, we start with 20 and then the number keeps on decreasing. We want the number to keep on increasing, and it must be constant and consistent, where the people are always, they see the value in Bitcoin, and yeah, it's not like a temporary thing for the numbers only or anything like that. So that's how it's being adopted in our community. Oh, and the changes
Awesome.
also, the changes is when people, for example, during our classes, when people find out what's actually happening when it comes to maybe the money that we use, it's a game changer for them because now there's more hope and basically like a brighter future for them because some businesses close because of how things go, because of the bank charges being too high, because of people can't access loans to expand their businesses. They can't keep up with competition and things like that. So more businesses are able to basically fare, in the industry and compete with other businesses, fast-growing businesses because of now. Like I said, the Bitcoin offsets the disadvantages that fiat comes with, basically. Yeah. So that's one of the changes that is evident and the people mention, in our community, the people that we work with, people that come to classes, the merchants.
Awesome. Just to add on, I would also like to ask this question. Based on you guys, what's going on in the community. Do you mind sharing a story of someone who you introduced to Bitcoin or who the team introduced to Bitcoin? It can be a business owner, a normal community member, or anyone. So what I'm trying to say is that can you share a story of those people that's that you feel like it's inspiring for other people to also know about, because it's very important, people's stories are being shared. So based on what you've seen happening on the ground, if there's any specific story of a business, a person that was onboarded to Bitcoin that you would like to share, please share it, right now. You can go ahead. The floor is all yours.
Okay, so there was this center, right? There's this center, it's like an aftercare center and also a tutor center. So it is run by this pastor, right? Pastor Rampuru, which is next door of the center, is also his church. He hosts church there on Sundays. So during the week, it's the classes, and then on weekends, it's church. When the team first approached him about Bitcoin, it was a slow process. It took about a year to orange pill him, right? But eventually he understood the concept of Bitcoin. Yeah. The tough thing was that he didn't have time. He was a busy man. But then whenever we caught him, we tried to sit down and explain to him, okay, no, this is how Bitcoin works, and so forth. So before Bitcoin, he had a lot of issues with basically the center and what it looked like, right? The lights were not working and the paint on the walls, it was cracking. It was an old center, right? So after we basically collaborated with him, we repainted the center outside and inside, and we replaced the lights, right? Because we used to use the venue for meetups and things like that. So we saw a long-term collaboration, basically. So now the place looked better. It was more refined and kids could actually, it was presentable. Even when parents drop off their kids, they can see, okay, no, this place looks nice. It's clean there. Things like that. That's like one story I can remember. Yeah, we repainted the place. I think it was early last year or late. Yeah, it was early last year for sure. So that was like a worthwhile collaboration because we also hosted movie nights at the venue, and we left some books for the kids to read, which was, the Bitcoin Kids book, by Nzonda. So yeah, that was one story that I can remember where it was like a change, like a seeable change.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Tumelo. Stories like these are very, very important. I really appreciate the openness and let us dive into your projects or your current projects and initiatives. You mentioned you work with a couple of projects, including Bitcoin Africans, which we are very proud to have you. So I would like to ask you, as usual, some amazing questions specifically for the project. So the first question I would like to ask you is, what projects or initiatives are you currently working on? And the second one, how do these projects aim to create impact in your community? So you can answer it one after the other. So let us start from the first one. So the first question is, what project or initiatives are you currently working on? Please, the mic is yours.
So currently, as Bitcoin flagship, right, we are working on a project to onboard the South African National Taxi Association so that commuters can accept Bitcoin for payment when they go to work, from work to school, basically when they use the taxis. That's the current project we are working on. And the way it will impact the community, I think it will impact the community in a positive way, because obviously Bitcoin is the better money at the moment and they will be able to see its value. And I think the Taxi Association also will be dealing with less cash, so which means less crime, right? People are moving digitally. People are looking into moving digitally more and more this side. So I believe instead of, the digital, the bank digital coins and things like that, I think it's always better to go with Bitcoin. So it will basically yield a very positive impact in that sense. It will be a cashless system for less crime. And I'm also doing a women's conference. Last year, I started the Women's Empowerment Conference in August the 30th. It was my first one, and this year on August 29th, I will also be hosting my second one. So what that's about is basically calling upon all women who are in business or who are trying to be in business, who are basically trying to better their livelihoods and integrating Bitcoin into their lives to overall better their livelihoods, right? So, which is accepting Bitcoin or storing their savings in Bitcoin, whether they want to do extra jobs or extra opportunities, expose them to extra opportunities in the Bitcoin world. So yeah, in August, it's Women's Month this side in South Africa. So that's why I chose to do it in August, because I wanted to recenter it. Basically, it should be for women. But everyone is invited, but the theme is women and empowering them as a whole. Yeah, because where I come from, right, there's a lot of mines, and obviously some jobs women cannot do. So they have to start their own businesses and look into more opportunities to make income for themselves. So we want to expose them to those opportunities. But yeah, also they should invest in a sound money in the process.
So we can both agree, not to disagree, that what a man can do better, a woman cannot do.
Hey, I don't know what to say about that.
No, you have to give me a response because you are like, there are some jobs that a man can do, a man cannot do. So we cannot
No,
conclude
I'm
this
not
by
like
saying,
that. What I was trying to say is that there are jobs that are not open for women. They prefer hiring men for those jobs. Basically, it's a preference.
but if they were open for women, women can still do it. Like,
Yes, 100%. There are a few women that are doing those jobs, going underground and mining and things like that. But compared to the number of men, it's quite small. So, yeah.
no problem. No problem. You've won this time around. You've won. Okay, so so now speaking about the impact that the project aims to bring to the community, you've mentioned Bitcoin flagship, right? So the taxi initiative is a great one. When it's been implemented it can drive a lot of change to the community and South Africa at large. So we look forward to seeing that progress. Keep up the great work. Now, looking at the Blooming Women Empowerment Conference happening this August, that is also a great one, and the impact to the community there is very lit. So I really appreciate these insights, and I want to urge everyone to check out what Tumelo is doing. You can check her out on Twitter. That's Tumelo Hika. We want to say a big thank you to Tumelo, as well as appreciate the good work she's doing over there in South Africa. And I want to use this medium to encourage everyone to please check what she's doing, and reach out to her, possibly, to make more connections and to grow what she's also doing locally and both globally. So thank you so much for joining. Tumelo, as well as thank you also for tuning in to join this amazing episode of today. We really appreciate you, and we say have a wonderful day ahead and see you in the next story. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe and share. Cheers, guys.